I think it's really important to break this title apart a little bit.
I
So
love that you're
elevate.
doing that.
So I think that the key piece is to elevate. What does elevate mean to you? Because it's going to mean different things to different people. To me, elevate is such a beautiful, uplifting, empowering, magnifying the good. Like there's a real big positive spin to elevate. And it's like the possibilities, the potentialities. So feel into that, and you can feel into that and do the assessment. So it's like really being mindful of what does it mean to you to elevate your life quality. So bringing in this next piece, what is the life quality? For some people, life quality could be your physical well-being.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest, and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Moira. Hi, listeners.
Hello, my dear.
Everybody. Welcome to our deliciously motivated mindset conversation with Debz, that would be me, and Moira, and that would be
Me. That would be me.
She's the one that's got the accent.
Yes, that's what she says.
Yeah. I had to giggle. I was at an event at the weekend, and I've worked online with this person, and every time I spoke, he's like, "What did you say? What did you say?" I was like, "Can't you get?" And he's English, and he's like, "What are you saying?" And I said that, and he goes, "I thought you said that." And I said, "I'm the same in person as I am on Zoom." He goes, "Yeah, but you talk really differently in person." I'm like, okay, thanks very much. Because what do you think? I'm way more filtered. He goes, "I don't know. You're not as. I don't know if it's polished or not polished." I'm like, okay.
So it's under advisement, obviously.
Yeah, so clearly he said I've got a weirder accent in person. So I guess we won't be doing these live, will we? We'll just stick to the podcast then.
Just stick to this. Talk to you live. I think you talk the same. I remember you talking the same in person as you do on Zoom. But maybe that's just me. That's just me.
It's just him. He's English. You're Scottish, so it's different.
Scottish. Yeah, I get you.
So thanks, Thomas. I'll just label him now, tell you his name. Anyway, today is holy gamoly. Holy gamoly. Elevate your life quality without struggle.
Yeah.
Ooh, what does this mean?
It's going to bring up.
I know.
Or bring down.
Well, yeah, take us, which is a perfect example, because we start with our numbers, which is we're taking, now when we say bring up, that's a 0. And when we say bring down, that's a 10, that's 10, right. Which is between 9 and 11, for those who have a problem with my accent, Thomas. Yes. And so what we do is we check in at the start of our podcast, and we check in at the middle, and then at the very end we check in, and our intention is to take you closer to a 0, clearly. So a 10 is discombobulated, as Moira says. I reference it, the Christmas tree lights tangle when you go, yeah, let's do the Christmas tree. And you open that box and you go, oh, why did I put everything away so quickly last year?
Who put that away?
Yeah. Oh my God, these are all tangled. This is broken. Put the Christmas tree lights out, put everything around them, design them all, and then find out that the bulbs are not working. That's a 10. In fact, that's probably a 20 when you've decorated the whole thing. So if you're going to use the Christmas tree lights, take them out, plug them in, make sure they still work before you put them on the tree.
Yeah.
Guess who's done that before? Mhm. So that is a 10 when you're completely discombobulated.
Yeah.
And a 5 isn't as chaotic. And a 0 is a beautiful space to be where a 10 is a beautiful space to be, but you can't see it. But it is, because it means you can move from there. And a 0 is where you're sitting in a space where it's just so lovely, so zen, so
Calm and
present.
present. Yeah.
Nothing
Flowing.
behind you, nothing in front of you. You're just in that moment.
Yeah.
In that moment, right there and then.
Mhm.
And you're witnessing things around you and you're just sitting in that moment. And that is, yeah, you got no struggle.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Complete
That's a 0.
ease. Yes.
Yeah. So where would you be and so everybody grab your pen and paper and write down your number of where you're at. Where would you be on that? We're
I
sitting
put
here right
myself
now.
at a 1.5.
Funny. I just did a 1. I went, am I a 1 or a 2? I'm going to say a 1 now that she's a 1.5. You're a
Funny.
1.5. Yeah.
I said I'm a 1.5 because of the piece of this title that says without struggle. And so it kind of just pinged something.
Curiosity made me
And
go,
so that's what the 0.5 is for.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. And I'm a 1.
Mhm.
So we just write these down and then we just leave it. We leave it till the very end or
Yeah.
till halfway and then at the end.
Yes.
So pen and paper, note-taking device, Excel spreadsheet, notes on your phone, whatever you want, right here, right now. We're going to kick it off with tip number 1, and I'm going to throw it to Moira. Elevate your life quality without struggle.
Mhm.
Tip number 1, Moira. Moira's like, oh, okay.
Put on the spot. So, like you've done in the past, I think it's really important to break this title apart a little bit.
I
So
love that you're
elevate.
doing that.
So I think that the key piece is to elevate. What does elevate mean to you? Because it's going to mean different things to different people. To me, elevate is such a beautiful, uplifting, empowering, magnifying the good. Like there's a real big positive spin to elevate. And it's like the possibilities, the potentialities. So feel into that, and you can feel into that and do the assessment. So it's like really being mindful of what does it mean to you to elevate your life quality. So bringing in this next piece, what is the life quality? For some people, life quality could be your physical well-being. For other people, might be more into, oh, it's my emotional well-being, or oh, I just like to. Somebody asked me that I'm being asked to do a presentation on helping people get out of their head so that they're not listening to their inner chatter all the time. So that could be elevate your life quality. Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of like, I think the tip 1 is clarity with what that means to you. Clarity and versus assessment, right? Does that make sense?
And I guess, yeah, it does. And I also think it's going to be that it doesn't have to be set in stone.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Because I think we go, this is my life quality. I need to have so much in the bank, or I need to have whatever it is. And it's like, it's not always going to be like that. Like, so I think I want to say, what is your life quality, but not set in stone?
Mm-hmm.
If I can say that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does completely.
Yeah.
So it's like we all have the ability to name it and claim it, but not say, oh, I can't say my quality of life's elevated until I get to that space. It's about say it, but then get busy on enjoying what's right here in the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think yes, you're right. And I'm gonna say there's an old saying, and I don't know, it probably came out about 3 years ago, be okay with not being okay. But when I say that, you're actually okay. So be okay with being where you are. You know that saying, be okay. Have I got a squeaky chair? Are you serious? I come to Australia and I've got another blooming squeaky chair. What is
chair
that
follows
about?
you.
I heard it. I've got my noise reduction earpods. I can hear it. I'm like, I can hear that. Whereas like, okay, Deborah, diversion. But be okay. I don't really like the be okay with not being okay, because
But
we
be
are okay with where you are.
are. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Be okay with where you are. Which also goes back to a not set in stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess that goes back to that comparison. Oh, 10 years ago, I used to have $1 million in the bank account, and now I don't even know when I'm going to pay my rent. Or
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, I was, 40 kgs, and now I'm 140. Well, you don't do kgs over there anyway. I don't even know what 40
Yeah, we do.
kgs is bloody thin.
In Canada, do we
Oh,
do
okay.
kgs? It's in the US that they do pounds.
Okay. Well, if you're 40 kgs and you're a grown woman, that's not good, I don't think. Here's me on judgment. Says that. I don't know. 40 kgs, I think that's pretty bloody thin, isn't it? I don't know. But so what I'm saying is be okay with where you are.
Yeah.
And I guess that actually brings in the 4 agreements.
100%. Yeah, because it's not the comparing yourself, being impeccable with your word, doing your best. Thinking it about impeccable with your word is a really big one in here, isn't it?
I actually just got all my goosies when you yeah.
So because my next tip, kind of fueled by what you just said, is this. We can look at like the law of attraction, which I've talked about this before too. I think that the law of attraction could be seen as the law of preferences, because oftentimes in order, because like you were saying about, it's not set in stone. So if it's not set in stone, that I'm not, if I can say, I want to have this kind of vehicle, let's say, and I'm going to be, my life quality will be awesome when I have this type of vehicle. But maybe sometimes I don't even know what type of vehicle. In fact, many people have asked me, what kind of car would be your luxury go-to kind of car? And I actually don't know. I really like the car I have.
Well, you're not a car person though.
No, I'm not. But
I could say what type of car I am.
I'm sure you could. But you see, I think that it's about needing to go through your preferences, like go try on different things and say, how do I feel? Do I like this? How does this make me feel? That kind of thing. But here's the other part too. Let's take that piece around with the car. Let's say a person really wants to have, I don't know, I'm going to say a BMW, whatever, 7 Series. That's
Maserati 4-wheel drive. Okay.
I was going to say a Maserati actually, but then changed my mind. Okay, we'll go for the Maserati.
Okay.
A purple Maserati.
Purple Maserati. Gold. Okay. Can you tell what colours we like, everybody?
So let's say that's the standard, or the that's going to really embody this elevated life quality. And in the meantime, let's say I'm driving around in the car that I have. It's a Kia Rio, which is...
I was going to say it would have to be a green car, because then the green car's the complete opposite of a Maserati 4-wheel drive. Was what I was thinking. Anything green.
Yeah, there you go. But you see, where I'm coming from about this elevating your life quality without struggle, a person who's really, really hung up on going to feel successful and arrived and like I've got a great quality of life when I get that car, and they're going to curse the car that they have, like this old rust bucket, this thing that guzzles the gas, that and like get really down on the vehicle they have. But
ungrateful.
Yes, having the elevating your life quality without struggle means I'd love to have that, but I love this. Right. So it's like, I'd love that Maserati, but I love the car that I'm driving right now, because the car that I'm driving right now allows me to do all the things that will ultimately let me get that car, if that is the one that's right for me. Because who knows, further down the road, that may change, right?
Yeah. And I think the thing is, moving the goalpost, you can just move them at any time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the important part. You know, when you're talking about that car analogy, I think that's the other part of that is also moving the goalposts.
Yeah.
And they don't
definitely.
just because you wanted that, everything's moving. And when I found out I was pregnant, I remember the lady saying to me, when I found out I was pregnant, she was like, "Did you ever want a child?" And I was like, "Oh, not for another 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years," I think I said to her, and she just laughed. And she said, "You're just moving the." I said, "Oh, everything has to be in order. Everything has to be
Right.
in order before I have a child. Like, this is absurd that don't even have $1 million in the bank, and that I don't have a partner."
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
for me, it was like crazy. And she goes, "Just move the goalposts." And I was like, "What do you mean?" I literally said to her, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "You just move them. Just have this one first, and then start building on the others." And I was like, "Is it that easy?" I literally said to her, "Is it that easy?" Like, I got myself so discombobulated
Yeah.
in a struggle in my
Yeah.
mind. And she just looked at me like she was gracious. She was actually probably one of the nicest ones, but she just looked like, "Yes, you can move the goalposts." Like, she
I
looked at me like I
love
was
that.
dumb. Like, "I don't get what you're saying. How can you think this is hard?" And I was like, wow, I can just move the goalposts. Like, I'd never even in my head taken the decision that I could just move the goalposts. And when she said it, I was like, wow, I needed your permission to move the goalposts. I needed your permission to go, "You can." And I think that was a massive turning point in my life
Mm.
and I obviously didn't need her permission to say it,
No,
to
but you
hear it,
needed,
but
so it's like,
I needed her to show me this color is going to work on you.
yes. But I would go so
And then
far as to say that your inner wisdom attracted that because you were ready to hear it, right?
totally, I've got my goosies totally, because I say to people when they say stuff, I'm like, "Well, your plan came earlier." And
Yeah.
they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "But you've been wanting this to happen.
Yeah.
You've been wanting this to happen, and it just happened to come 3 years earlier or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You've wanted this." And then they're like, "Oh my God, I've been talking about it." It's like, yeah, you wanted this.
Yeah.
Just happened sooner than you thought or something. And I think that was, yeah, perfect. So that really just helped me in my whole life now. I just giggle when people say things. I'm like, "Move the goalpost." They're like, "What?" Like, can't be that easy. Like,
Yeah.
can.
Because what I attach to that tip is the reminder that we are all powerful creator beings. And
Oh
that's what
yeah,
I
that's
meant.
okay.
That's what I meant when I said, I was like, well, I attracted that person saying that to me, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm actually that's actually a whole separate bullet point tip as well.
it is actually, it is.
Yeah.
Because moving the goalposts, because the thing is that to your point too, and you and I had this conversation at the beginning of COVID, the year of pivot.
Year of pivot.
The
The
year
year
of
of
pivot.
pivot. Yeah.
But I remember us talking about this, of saying, but I created this, I attracted this. And we
Oh
were
yeah.
talking about it. It was like, I wanted to work from home. Yeah, then here I am. Yay me.
I'd been in a relationship for 6 months and wanted to spend quality time with my partner.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's just never going to happen because I'm traveling for at least a week and here I am traveling back, my very first international trip, as I have to Google,
3
going,
years
yeah, I'm going
later.
for, yeah, I'm going for 2 weeks. Actually, I'm going for 3. so my life, yeah, totally. But it is, you attracted that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, so here's the thing about elevating your life quality without struggle means, because you know what? I just realized something. I'm going to interrupt myself. I do this all the time too.
Or I interrupt her.
Or yeah, or I interrupt you. The
Yep.
thing about is that if things start to feel struggly, you set a goal and you're trying to get something created or some kind of project on the go, and then there's blocks and things, things falling through and not working out the way that you think they should,
Yes,
that
totally.
struggle is saying, yeah, put your attention over here. It's to let the struggle go. It's like, oh, it's just not the time yet. And
Guess what my
okay,
next
so I have
tip
to.
was? Trust. It's trust. It
Yeah.
is. So don't force it.
Yeah.
Trust,
Yeah.
which is exactly that. Like, trust that it's going to be okay. Trust that the universe has your back. Trust that you trust yourself.
Yeah.
Trust that it's going, and that's, so that struggle is don't force it. Don't be desperate. People smell desperation. I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah, totally. But also those 3 tips, that's 3 tips. They beautifully inform each other, because if we acknowledge and really step into the power that we are creator beings, powerful creator beings, and that when struggle comes up, it's a gift. It's kind of like, it informs me that this is not the right thing for me to be doing right now. Thanks very much. I trust that I can park that, let it go, come back to it another time, or maybe it gets taken up by somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then you trust, okay, the thing that inspires me or makes my heart sing or lights me up is going to be the next right step to do.
So that struggle is like, I'm not going to say it's a red flag. It's like a pink flag. That struggle is actually getting you back on purpose, on track, questioning yourself, is this for me? It's just it's awakening. It's awakening. Yeah. It's just giving you a slap to wake up.
It's awakening you.
Awakening you up.
Sometimes struggle is not necessarily saying no, it's just saying not now. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I like that. If you think about going on a trip, for instance, and you go on to your Expedia account or wherever you make your travel arrangement, and then every flight that you look at is like it's going to take you X amount of time, or it's being cancelled, or the airline says, yeah, you booked this, but this isn't going to work, and
so it's out of flow, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, okay, well, I guess that's not going to work. So that doesn't mean you're never going to make that trip, for instance, but it's not now.
Not right now.
Not right now. So you can go back. And so I like that. I do like pink flag idea. So then you let go and trust. I'll be guided by my inner wisdom, or I'll get nudged or tapped, or something that will show up to help me recognize that I'm back on flow.
I was just thinking, how many times have we had a thought of a subject title of our podcast, and I'm like, oh, let's do. I remember one time we were literally nearly 10 minutes trying to come up with one particular title.
Oh yes, I remember this. Yeah, and we just said,
and
nope,
we were just
not it.
And then we both, I think, looked at each other at the same time and was like, oh no, just park it.
Yep.
We've got a bullet point of roughly what we want to say. Let's find another title another day. And then the other time we were just like, oh, what about this? What about this? And we literally banged out in that 10 minutes about 30 subject titles. And we were like, did that just happen? We're like, yeah. So when it's struggle, just pray and walk away. Just park it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's over. Just means not right now.
Doesn't mean no, it means not now. And it's so to your point, that's the perfect example. Because when you're in flow, everything's just so magical and like, yes, of course, this is working.
Yeah, but you don't question it, do you?
No.
And I guess the struggle is when you're questioning.
Yes. Well,
that's back into your head, isn't it?
It's back into your head. And you know, that's the quote. It reminds me of that quote. I don't know who said this, but it's we make plans.
How do you not know?
Plans, we make plans and God laughs. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because we make plans from our head and the universe goes, ha ha ha. It's way easier than that. We're not doing it that way.
Yeah.
Come, my pretties. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. I think I'm going to bring in another tip, which wasn't going to be one of my tips, but it's called comparison. And I think when we talk about our life quality, and I just giggle at this one because I was at an event at the weekend and they were just like, Deborah, you make it so easy running an event. You make it so easy. Deborah, people ask you questions. You make it so easy when you answer them. They're like, how do you do that? I'm like, because I live and breathe this stuff. I walk my talk.
Yeah.
This is totally me, and when people are comparing you, they're like, but you do. And I'm like, okay. So I just fired off like 5 questions to this one particular person and he answered them like that. I'm like, guess what? those are the questions that you asked me earlier, and I've just reframed them and said them another way, and you've just answered. I said, and you gave a different answer to me. He was like, oh my God, I did. I was like, yeah, I did. But don't compare yourself to me. You
No.
answer differently. But I literally fired those same questions you fired me all morning back at you and worded them differently. He goes,
Right.
oh, you're good. And then he's like, and then he went, but how do you remember that? And I said, because they were annoying questions. I'm like, are you duh? I said, when you asked them, I was like, duh, you can answer that yourself. And I memory banked it. And he's like, oh, that's not very nice. So I just want to go, I was like, well, it worked. But I want to go back to comparison. We all have a genius in us. We all
do.
have our own genius. So focus on your genius, what lights you up.
Mhm.
Look at others for inspiration.
Mhm.
Don't look at them for deflation and judgment. Look and go, wow, they do that. Like Moira and I, we do a podcast. People go, wow, you've had a podcast for what? It must be 3 years. No, it must be more
It's
than
over
that.
3 years. It's over 3 years now.
4
Yeah.
years, 5 years, yeah. And they're
Yeah.
like, you've had a podcast for that? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, how did you start? And I'm like, I just started talking to Moira. She does the tech. How do you do that? I'm like, don't ask me. But don't compare yourself to Moira. Don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare
Yep.
to us.
Yep.
Go look and go, oh, if they can do it, I can do it. Great.
Absolutely.
Don't go
use it as inspiration, not as oh, there's something wrong with me.
deflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not deflation. I love that
Yeah.
because people ask me that too.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Oh gosh, how did you do that? And oh gosh, you make it look so easy. And it's like, well, to me it is.
Well,
To me, it is that easy.
I know.
Right?
I know.
I do a live session on Insight Timer every week. I love doing them. And most often I show up to them and I'm prepared. Like I'm going to teach them X amount of tips and then I'm going to take them through a guided meditation. But just recently, I did show up prepared, but there was some really neat questions and chat happening. I went completely off what I was going to talk to them about. And I actually told them, like, this is not what I was showing up to talk to you about today. And I just
we'll go there.
Yeah, we're going to go over there. And somebody afterwards said, oh my God, didn't it throw you off? And I'm like, no, because like you said, we walk our talk. So I show up to these sessions, I'm grounded, I'm present, and I'm going to interact with the energy that's showing up. And somebody asked me a question and I'm just going to open my mouth and let something come out. And it ends up uplift. And so I think the key piece, and this is when you know that you are in flow with your unique gifts, is it's not about a conversation in my mind. It's about just allowing somebody ask me a question and it goes through.
It right? flows again.
Flows because I'm in my heart space and I'm letting wisdom flow through me. It's not my wisdom anyways. I'm a conduit to it. Right?
Yeah.
And we all are. So this is we're talking about elevating our life quality without struggle. Well, maybe if we could stop overthinking things, that would be such a huge gift to doing it, right?
Well, I know. And so I was just thinking about the overthinking. Surprise. I was thinking, imagine if Moira said, these are our topics for the next week. And I started writing bullet points and thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then Moira gave a topic that I wanted to talk about. I'm like, yeah, but I've got good stories for that. Like it can throw you literally right out. It does. You sign up for a client, or a client goes, okay, we're going to talk about my mother today. And you're like, great. And I don't do this. But then you research all about mothers and what's going on. And let's go back, pull that. And then they turn up and then they go, okay, well, I want to talk about my boss. And he's pretty mean. And you're like, no. I'm planned for mother today.
Yes,
we're not talking about your boss.
Mother. Stay in
Yeah.
your lane.
Yes. I don't think so. I'm not prepared for boss. Where's all my paperwork? And I think that's the stuff, that's literally the stuff that you go into struggle,
Yeah. Yeah.
that you go into crazy, crazy struggle. Yeah.
Do you know what this reminds me of? I've done a lot. Well, you and I do our podcast and we don't script or prepare. We just riff and let ideas and memories and stories come
I crack
through.
up every time I have a story. We get on the call, we start talking, we giggle, and I go, and what are we talking today? Yeah. And we
Yep.
get on the call, and then I talk about it. So she goes, "You're gonna laugh at today," and I'm like, "What is it?"
No.
And she tells me whatever it is, and I'm like, "Of course that's what we're talking about,
That's
because
the
that's
energy
literally what
been
we've just."
sitting
I'm like, "Okay, the tips are for me today, clearly, Moira. They're never for Moira."
obviously. Well, actually, that's yeah. We'll say that if that keeps you happy. But no,
Yeah.
the story I wanted to share is this time I've been interviewed on lots of other people's podcasts and shows. And usually it's done in this format like we do, our conversation format. You know, I might be asked to give a
Oh,
few
really?
bullet points of what kind of topics I want to be asked about or things of that nature. But there was
Yeah.
this one, and I swear it is the worst interview I've ever done. I hope
Oh, no.
it's disappeared and been burnt up somewhere in interwebs.
Yeah.
Because this person wanted me to script all of the conversation,
Oh,
like 100% of the conversation, script it all out. And I
yeah.
was like, well, I don't really, that's the first time I've ever been asked to do that. And I'm like, all right, well, okay. Guess this is how she ran her thing. Anyways, I
Yeah.
did the script. But then, of course, when we go live, I started being like I do. And she was like, nope, bringing me back onto the script. And she's sitting there with my script in front of her. We're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so horrible because there was no flow. There was no ease. It was kind of like, oh, we're talking about this now. And I did have it, but I like flow. I'm mindful. What's my energy right now? Let's go with what's happening here, not
Yeah.
5 weeks ago when I scripted that weird thing out.
That's like me when I had to introduce Dr. John DeMartini at events, and they go, "You need to say this, this, and this," and I go, "Okay, I'm gonna just take the bullet points of what are, the
Yeah.
important stuff." I would think,
Yeah.
the real significant things, and because I literally couldn't. I would have a physical reaction to had to say certain words, and I could understand, and I can't. And they go, "Okay, you ready to introduce?" And when it comes to anything, I go, "Can we get someone else to introduce them?" Because I know I'm not going to go to script. I know I'm not.
Right.
Because I'm not a scripted person.
Nope.
Like I struggle, and you can read through scripts. When you're people who do those sales calls,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they throw it out there, and you're just like, this is disgusting. This
I
is
know.
disgusting.
Say something that you might derail them, and they'll take a wee pause and go back to their script.
I know, and I do that to people. But it's not. It's just okay. So I guess it's inauthentic.
Yeah.
Would be and I think that's probably actually to elevate your life quality without struggle is be authentic to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a big one. Well, they all are, but nice linking in that one. But it's be authentic to you, because your health and wealth and your self-worth and who you are is authenticity. Because when someone tells you to do something you don't want to do, or someone tells you to say something you've got to say, or you have to lie to this person, you're like, I can't lie, I can't do it. Like I can't, and you're going outside. Authenticity is going outside your core soul being, I would say, probably.
It's like it reminds me of a story that I've done with clients and students before, is that when we get into this idea of playing a role, or I reference it as holding up a mask, you're not letting people see the real you because you're holding up this mask. And so I remember having a client that we were talking about that, and I said to him, "Don't your arms get tired?" And he said, what do you mean? I said,
I'm going to use this one.
your arms must be getting so tired carrying this mask in front of you all the time.
I'm going to use it today. I'm going to see how many times I can use it. That's a good one.
Isn't it?
Because you've also put a visual in there. So when they go to do something, they're like, oh, I can feel it. I can feel how heavy I am.
Exactly. It's and that is exactly how it impacted him. It's like, oh, no, I'm not picking that mask up again. I'm just going to let you see who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great one, because that's totally like, and you can feel it the moment you go jump out of, you know, when you're inauthentic, and you can feel it and you're like, oh no, here my mask is up. Here my mask up. Now, I'm not saying you need to be transparent and tell everybody everything that's going on.
No.
You definitely don't need to do it on social media and everything, but just be true to you.
Yeah. Well, it's like you were saying about if you're being told, oh, you're going to have to do this introduction, you have to use these words. Actually, you know what? I remember having one of my recordings vetted by a publishing company.
Oh God, I'd hate to have any of mine done. That makes me shudder. That takes me to a 10.
Well, they told me that I was saying a word wrong. And I'm like, that's my Scottish accent. I can't change that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was like, you're going to have to accept it as it is, or I have to pull the whole thing, because I can't. That is completely inauthentic. If you make me pronounce a word that I just don't say it that way. I'll do it as a joke sometimes. You know, I'm thinking of if I say, trying to think of a word that I might have to translate for myself. Can't think of anything right now. Well, I mean, the name would come to me is I would say Ernie, but North American people would say Ernie, and so I'll do little jokes like that. But Ernie.
Yeah, Ernie. I don't know how I say it.
Yeah, you say it a wee bit Ernie.
Just for the record, my dad used to have belly button fluff, and he used to get the cousins, and he used to put his t-shirt over their face and go, say hi to Ernie. And Ernie used to be the belly button fluff. It's disgusting. That's childhood abuse. He'd go, say hi to Ernie, and he'd smother the kids into his belly button. My dad's going to kill me from that. He's not. But yeah, Ernie. And he was called Ernie.
That's funny. But so that's what I'm saying is that I can made her snort now. I can do that if just because it's fun and it's funny, but to have somebody say, no, you said that word wrong. I can't even remember what the word was, but that was the only downside. They actually accepted the recording, by the way.
Well,
but I had to push back.
I'm the same with pen, PEN.
Right.
And so when I go to Australia, I say pen, and they think pin, PIN.
Yeah.
And so now I actually, because I've had so many problems with it, I don't even try and pronounce pen like they do. I now say biro.
Oh, good. That's the perfect solution. I like that. Yeah.
I know. I've just gone to being at ease and just say biro. Yeah. Do we have paper and a biro? And they're probably going, a biro? How old are you? And I'm thinking, trust me, it's a lot easier. I'd rather have you think I'm.
Yeah, but instead of saying stick a pin in it. Stick a pin in it.
Yeah. I remember the time she argued with me about getting pins, and she had 300 pins on top of paper.
No.
At an event that was, and she said, you said pin, and I went, pen. Why would I want you to put a pin on top of a notebook on every single chair? We had an argument over it. I know. So now I say biro. Biro is so much easier.
That's so much easier, but at least you don't have to say pen, because that would be a real struggle, and that's not you being authentic, right? You can authentically say biro. I think that's a perfect solution. I love that.
I guess you can actually have a tip is life is funny. Laugh it off.
Yes.
Because like, I know we're pushed for time here, but that could be, but laugh lots. Like when she came out and she said, but you said that, and I was just laughing going, I've got 300 pins on top. I'm thinking, how thick are you? And I'm like, okay, we had this discussion. She's thinking, how thick am I?
Yeah.
And I had to laugh
it off. No, and I love that. That could be our closing tip is because it is supposed to be fun. I think having a good sense of humor is one of the best ways to elevate your life quality. It's just like, don't take things too seriously. Just laugh it off. Have some fun.
Don't laugh. If you're going to laugh at people, laugh with them.
Yes.
That's probably my
and laugh
downfall.
at yourself a lot. Laugh at yourself much more than you might laugh with others.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. That's a great tip to end on, laugh.
It certainly is. But talking about it being our last tip, dear listeners, we invite you to grab your pen.
Your biro.
Or biro.
Yeah.
Pencil or note-taking device. I like the note-taking device. We're going to rattle through the tips that this has been really fun going through this. It's gone way different than I thought it was. Mind you, I should realize that by now.
What's our expectation? Just take them to a zero.
Bring
them to a zero. That's it.
So let's go through these tips that we shared. The first one we talked about was the clarity, like defining elevate and life quality is to have clarity and assess what does that mean to you, and also giving yourself permission that anything that you have clarify for yourself doesn't have to be set in stone, right?
Yeah. I think that's if the only tip you get, I think just that last doesn't have to be set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's of course there's some more good ones, so don't just hang up on the podcast now.
No, there's more.
But I do think clarity,
Mm-hmm.
And the next tip we had was be okay with where you are.
Yeah.
Be okay with where you are. Not be okay with being not okay, but be okay with where you are. Be right here, right now. Be okay. If you're a 10, when we did that check-in, be okay that you're a 10. 10. I can hear myself. Okay, so if you're a 9, be okay that you're a 9. And if you
11,
you move,
that's okay too.
Yeah, totally. And if you jump to 11 after listening to us, then that's okay.
Then you better get in touch with us.
But I will say, we are here for you. Trust us. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I love that. Yeah, be okay with where you are.
One wee piece on that, be okay with where you are, is to avoid comparing where you have been and where other people that you know are. So it's just being okay with where you are. Just you.
Yeah, you. Yeah.
The next tip that I had here was about preferences. So love what you have in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Love the things that you're saying, I want to have that car. That's when we were talking about the Maserati.
Yes.
Or the X amount in the in your bank, or the type of relationship, or the business, whatever it is. It's great to do that, always remembering whatever you've said is your intention or your goal or your vision is not set in stone. So
moving those goalposts.
Yeah. And so celebrate what you have.
Yeah. But you actually, I think you missed one out, and I'm going to say your goalpost.
Oh, that was the next one. See, that
no, sorry. No, the 4 agreements.
Oh,
right. Because you mentioned the 4 agreements, so I'd like you just to bring those back in, because I think they are really, really, really important.
Yes, they are. I think the one that really stands out here, actually, the first one and the fourth one stand out most for the elevate your life quality without struggle, is be impeccable with your word. So that means internal chatter as well as external chatter, allowing yourself to show up as you are, not as you think you should be, but always do your best, right? So it's finding the rhythm and the ease. And the other 2 middle ones are, of course, don't take things personally and never make assumptions. Actually, that's actually an important one in this conversation too.
I was just going to say that's all of them.
They all are.
All of them yet again. Yeah. Just pick one today and focus on it for the week, and then tomorrow, do another one. Yeah,
Bring in another one.
I think. Yeah. The tip I've got here is powerful beings, and we attract that, and reminding ourselves that we are powerful beings.
Powerful creator beings, absolutely.
And we attracted that, even if you don't want to admit to it. You have to, you have to, you have to. Because we did attract what happened in our world to
Yeah.
things that happened to us. But we are incredibly powerful. So, remind yourself that you're powerful.
Yeah.
In what you do.
Own it. Celebrate it. Be proud of it. That's what's intended for you. The next one I have here is the release struggle. And that's when Deb talked about the pink flag, that struggle is a pink flag. I was saying that struggle can sometimes be, it's saying not now. It's not always saying no, but it's saying not now. There's something else for you to put your attention on and ease and flow and dance with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I had trust. Now, where was that trust?
Trust came in, right? That's the next one.
Somewhere. Oh, okay. I was like, I had trust. Where was that?
Yeah.
So trust in yourself, trust in others, and trust in the bigger picture. And I think, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's just that's it.
Yep.
That's the end of that tip. End of. Yeah.
End of that tip. Although I had tacked on what I wrote next to that, trust is recognize your flow. Trust and recognize that you're on flow, your own flow, right?
Okay, yeah.
And
that's when the struggle sits in your, the struggle is when you're in struggle, it's sitting in your head, but when you're in flow, you're in your heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The next tip that I had here, and we put this as a standalone one, was comparison, releasing the thinking mind. That, we talked a tip prior to this about the just being okay with where you are, but it's also so important when we are not quite clear on what it is we want, what's the goals we want, and that we tend to say, oh, well, what does that person want? Or what do people of my ilk like or not like? So it's like release all comparison, because that is not going to elevate your life quality. Comparing yourself to others, right?
Well, the more you compare, that's when you're going to bring in your health conditions, I think.
Oh, yes, I agree.
when you're struggling, that's it.
Definitely.
Authentic.
Yep.
Authenticity.
Absolutely.
Be authentic. Walk your talk. Jump back to those 4 agreements. Just be true to you. Make decisions for you.
Yep. Be authentic to yourself. And the last one I have here is one of my favorite ones, is to laugh it off. Have fun, play. And I said that too, is I think it's super important to laugh at yourself. Remember to laugh at yourself. And Deb said, make sure that you're laughing with other people rather than at other people.
I think that message was for me. Yeah, totally. I'm actually going to jump in another one after the laugh. And the other thing is reach out. And I mean, I know we've just talked about laughing and everything, but please, if you are struggling, Moira is incredibly good at what she does for a job. And I know what she does for a purpose. And I am the same. And you've listened to us, we talk same, but differently. Find out who resonates with you and reach out, because we are honestly here. We don't do these podcasts for shits and giggles. Well, we do.
We do.
Am I allowed to say that?
We do, but there's other purposes in here too.
Yeah, totally. Because we generally care about you. We generally
Your
care about the
well-being.
universe.
Absolutely.
We care about everyone out there. Even, if you think you're an a-hole, we still care about you.
Definitely.
And let's see what we can do to shift that. So please reach out to Moira or myself, because if you take any of these tips and you just go, it's too hard, I can't do it, or they're going to judge me, why would they want to talk to me? Just please don't get yourself
don't
to sit
listen
in
to that
space.
blah blah blah. That is just blah blah blah, by the way. Don't listen to it.
Totally.
Just
we are here
out.
for you, so please reach out. Which is not one that I thought of even put on my thing, and I went, oh, this is reach out to us. We are here for you.
I love that. I love that. That's a beautiful way to end this one. It's been a great conversation. They always are. Of course, I'm not surprised, because I get to sit and chat with my dear friend here. But dear listeners, we would love to hear, what was the tip that stood out for you? And we'd also love to hear, how did this impact you? Did you shift your number? Where were you at the beginning, and where do you sitting at now? Do you feel like we left off any kind of tip? we'd like to continue this conversation with you in our Facebook group. So if you haven't followed or joined us there, we'd encourage you to do that. But all that being said, checking in with the numbers, I was at a 1.5 and Deb was at a 1. So where are you now, my dear?
I'm well and truly a 0.
I'm
well and truly a 0. I'm
As-
well and truly a 0.
As am I, well and truly a 0, feeling very calm and peaceful. It's been an excellent conversation. So, dear listeners, if you enjoyed this, even if you didn't enjoy this, it'd be really cool
if you didn't.
to continue the conversation. So to share, pull other people into this conversation, elevate your life quality without struggle. We do this collectively. We do this as a tribe. So share this with your loved ones, with people that you resonate with and that you want to pull into the conversation with you. We would love to keep the conversation going. So all that being said, this is our Deliciously Motivated Mindset podcast episode signing off this week, and we'll be back with you next week. Thank you, dear Deb. Thank you, Internet. Thank you, dear listeners.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.